So, I did a queen ranking video a couple months ago, and besides being more fun than I expected it to be, it did raise some interesting points for me to consider. One, it made me realize I forgot a lot from Darkstalker's book, and Diamond and Vigilance definitely belonged in the war crimes category. Two, and more relevantly, it made me think about Snowfall. Honestly, y'all know my opinion on the third arc, so even though I actually really enjoyed her book, though it had its flaws, despite the interesting things in that book, I kind of read it and then forgot about it. But today, after speed reading the wiki entries for this book to jog my memory, I am ready to address Snowfall. Specifically, I got several comments debating whether or not Snowfall is actually a good queen. Most people place her in the good category since she's accomplished a lot since becoming queen. The two things I saw mentioned most frequently were her dismantling of the wall in the ranking system and her discovery of the anti-Nightwing spell on the crown. Okay, one wiki read through later, here are my thoughts. I want to talk about Icewing culture and how Snowfall goes against it. So first off, let's recap. Icewing culture, as shown in Book 7 and the 4th Winglet, is extremely rigid and based heavily on a merit system type idea, where dragons are ranked in different circles. They also, in part due to their war with Nightwings, although that was a long time ago, are extremely xenophobic. Xenophobia is a fear or hatred of outsiders or foreigners. Little vocabulary for you. A lot of you might say racist, but I think the term xenophobic is actually more appropriate here. The Icewings were all raised on this idea that their tribe and their culture was superior to everyone else, and they sequestered themselves behind the Great Wall, literally cutting off all contact with other tribes. Now, this is a great bit of world building, and it has some scary parallels to some real-world places, but I won't focus on that. The point is, Icewing society was in desperate need of a reset. We can all agree on that. What I want to focus on today, having set the scene, is the question of whether or not Snowfall did a good job reshaping that in Book 14. So, obviously, at the end of Book 14, Snowfall did two very important things. She broke the Great Wall, and she destroyed the Wall of Names. And while those are good actions, a lot of people seem to be taking them at face value, as if just by destroying the physical aspect, Snowfall fixed the mindset that made those spells possible in the first place. Let me try and explain. Yes, getting rid of both walls was good, and I'll talk about the Great Wall first because it's simpler. Destroying the Great Wall is a good action, full stop. It has good symbolism. It was literally a magic wall keeping all the other tribes out of the Ice Kingdom and isolating her subjects. Destroying it doesn't get rid of the Icewing concept of superiority, but it opens the door to new experiences that'll help that feeling die. Keep in mind, culture does not change overnight. Just because an authority figure, be it a queen or a government, tells you to feel a certain way certainly does not make it happen. Snowfall can affect these changes, and she can even help hurry it along by publicly supporting it, but it's the Icewings themselves who have to change their minds. And although some like Lynx will be excited, others like Tundra or the older generation especially will likely be very against it. Societal change takes time. It's as simple as that. I think the wall is a done deal though. Snowfall can use her authority to invite diplomats and trade into their kingdom, which will help acclimate her Icewings to other tribes and cultures more quickly. Where I start to see problems is her destruction of the ranking wall. Now, obviously, that wall had to go. Not only did it pit Icewings against each other, but like Snowfall explains to Mink, it's an arbitrary system of judgment. There is no way to judge which dragon is worth more than another. For one, everyone has equal value as sentient persons, but for another, using the example Snowfall gave, everyone has different talents and different skills. It's impossible and immoral to rank people. A small note, I don't like that she destroyed the ranking wall physically. I do like that she smashed the Great Wall. That was a huge outdoor fixture, which would have taken months to remove and may have even been impossible to remove without the aid of magic items. But the ranking wall is an important palace fixture that is central to their society, at least in and around the palace. Smashing it just enrages those around her without actually addressing the issues it causes. Remember, Snowfall can tell dragons how to feel, but she can't force them. She's alienated a lot of dragons doing that, even if she's also gained allies as well. I think a wiser course of action would have been to have announced that she was doing away with the wall, and then to remove it respectfully from the palace. You don't have to respect it for its own sake. It's a vile tool, but you respect it because it means a lot to the Icewings, and it's central to their way of life. This would have also accomplished her goal without making so many dragons angry, I think, and it sets a better example than just smashing things you disagree with. And they didn't really show it in the book, but I promise you, more dragons than Tundra are furious over her getting rid of the ranking system. Maybe not the 6th and 7th ranked dragons, but the 1st and 2nd circle ranked dragons have just lost their superiority status, and I promise they're angry and looking for ways to get back at her subtly. But even destroying that wall isn't enough, because after that she has the real work, addressing the mindset that wall caused in the first place. And this just takes time. One complaint I have with Book 14 is how rushed everything seems. Yes, we were getting the changes to Icewing culture that we wanted, but it was happening too fast to really be believable. I mean, think about America or wherever you live. How slow is change? It can take months or even years for people to change their opinion about little bitty things. I mean, not even things that change how their whole society operates. Realistically, Snowfall doesn't smash everything and then everything works great. And I'm not saying that's what Book 14 does. It doesn't imply that everything's perfect by the end. However, I don't think it adequately addresses the fact that this is only the first step out of hundreds to come. The book should end with a feeling of the work has just started. However, overall, I do agree that Snowfall is doing a good job given the hand she was dealt. She's young and untested, sure, but she's heading in the right direction. My advice to her would be to take more caution tramping over traditions that have been in place for centuries and centuries. Dragons are already shown to be of a violent nature, and she's not the only royal dragon around. She might want to make sure she doesn't make too many enemies at home. This goes hand in hand with the paranoia and Nightwing hating spell too, by the way. That's a great one to get rid of, and although it only directly affected the Queen, it was still one of those things that had far-reaching effects on Icewing society. The takeaway here is that Icewing culture will need a lot of work to restructure, but what it needs most is time. Time will give them changes to experience other dragons and to break down the isolation their tribe is steeped in. You can't rush this stuff. It doesn't work that way. So I think Snowfall's on the right track, and even though I would do some things differently, you have to admit, Tui writes her accurately. She's a young dragon with no experience. Obviously, some of the things she does are going to be brash, emotion-based choices. So that actually makes sense from a character perspective. Even if I personally would have advised her to act differently, as a writer, that was probably the perfect choice for Tui to make, because that is in character considering Snowfall's age and experience level. I've wanted to make an in-depth Icewing culture video for a long time. I don't know if I ever will, because there's just so much to get into here, and it can go really deep if you want to. Of all the tribes, I think their setup is the most intriguing to me, partially because of how toxic and militaristic it is, but particularly because of its striking real-world parallels. Anyways, some of you have already shared your thoughts on Snowfall in the comments of my Queen ranking video, but if you have any thoughts after hearing mine, feel free to share. Do you think Snowfall would have smashed the ranking wall as she did, or should she have been more respectful and careful? How long do you think it will take for Icewings to truly become accepting of other tribes? Keep in mind, Icewings are just the most extreme case of xenophobia in the Wings of Our World. All the tribes exhibit some amount of dislike for outsiders. The Icewings just dialed it to 11. Do you think Snowfall will be a more popular or less popular queen with her subjects after breaking 2 walls? Also, for anyone curious about the art playing during this video, this was one of the exclusive post-it notes I designed for the Christmas mystery box. I do think Snowfall is super gorgeous, and I'm into cute, pretty sunsets and stuff right now, so this design practically drew itself. It is available in my store, by the way, so if you like sticky notes and cute art, feel free to check out the link in the description that takes you there. Also in the description are links to my Redbubble, Patreon, DeviantArt, etc., where you can find more art or support me as you please. Thank you so much for watching, and have a blessed day.